It's been over a decade since the Attack on Titan anime dropped, and it feels like the end of an era. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say I was there since day one, down in the trenches, suffering from those long ass hiatuses like so many others, but you know, I was there, biding my time, not knowing shit about anime. To be fair, I think I was 10 when AOT released, so I don't think giant cannibals and people screaming in Japanese would have been my thing. I was probably more into like Young Justice or Gravity Falls, Fairly Odd Parents, and anything Batman. But with AOT officially over, it just feels like the era of long-running shonen is over. And AOT might be the last masterpiece we see in a long time, especially for shonen, because we all know they love to discontinue shonen mangas at the drop of a hat. I would say Jujutsu Kaisen has the potential to be a masterpiece, but I'm pissed at Akutami right now, and I don't think that'll ever change. Let's be honest, for the past decade, AOT has had a firm grip on the shonen genre, and has done nothing but raise the level of what we would consider a good story. And I think that's something that any author strives for, writing a story so good that it literally raises people's expectations for what is to be considered good. I don't think anyone envisioned it would turn out this way when they first started it, and it is incredible. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and waste your guys' time and pretend that everyone and their mother hasn't already given their 2 cents on the series, but you know what, that's exactly what I'm about to do, because I make videos about things that I feel really strongly about at the moment. So let me say my piece and move on with my life. I'll try to keep spoilers to a minimum out of respect for the people who haven't watched the final part yet, but it's Attack on Titan, and if you haven't seen it yet, it's your own damn fault. Attack on Titan is a series that has continuously changed and grown, building upon the foundations of previous seasons, and I can safely say that although we waited for what felt like an eternity for the final season, it's the most distinctive season ever. The show is so far beyond anything the show initially set up as, to the point it's almost unrecognizable. Forget about an epic tale of humanity's fight for survival against giant monsters. It's a complex political war thriller with heroes and villains on both sides, with no clear distinction of who or what you should be rooting for. Good guys have flaws, bad guys are sympathetic, and you're just there, sitting in the middle, watching and loving every second of the carnage and badass moments unfolding before your very eyes. There have been series before that have changed up things as it's progressed, but Attack on Titan final season didn't just change a few characters and elements, it straight up changed the entire fucking genre of the show. But what makes it so goddamn amazing is how it does this so casually while feeling like a completely natural progression. Season 3 may have been the payoff to everything that was built up, but season 4 is the evolution. Like, this was Eren before season 4. This is Eren during season 4.
何をしてる? 立てよ、父さん。忘れたのか? 何をしにここに来たのか?
If you were to re-watch this show from the beginning, it's incredible how much foreshadowing and small bits of information were scattered throughout along the way back from season 1. It's so obvious that despite it being a completely different series from where we first started, this was the game plan all along. When Eren and Zeke took a stroll walking through the past only for Eren to reveal what an absolute menace he is, and how all the events since even before he inherited the Attack Titan have all been by his design, you know what we call that? Fantastic fucking writing. Absolute madness. The biggest plot twist in the past decade, and it was such a beautiful moment of absolute madness. Everyone immediately went to YouTube to either make a video about it or understand what the fuck they just witnessed, and it was one of the best pieces of writing in all of fiction. But what continued to surprise me is that no matter how much things changed, everything feels earned. I can't think of a better example of this than Eren himself. You all remember what Eren was like back before season 4. Eren killed all the Titans Jaeger, and he transformed into this goddamn 6-pack of absolute dilf material. I mean, look at this man. Fine wine wishes that it could age this well. This man put up a good fight against Gojo for the king of fangirls. Season 4 Eren is a completely different beast to the character we knew, and it was a welcomed change. Let's face it, his growth between the first 3 seasons was almost non-existent. Season 1, crybaby. Season 2, crybaby. Season 3, crybaby. Season 4, still a crybaby, but this time I'm crying with you. But this Eren is a battle-hardened war veteran who's not afraid to make any sacrifices to achieve his goal. He's almost the complete opposite of the person he was, but it just feels so goddamn right. Eren has been built up to be the boogeyman of the world, and he truly personifies it. Shown to us when he literally tries to off Falco saying, "Fuck them kids." You see the same headstrong, idealistic character that you've been following, betraying his friends, sacrificing the people closest to him, and even killing civilians, let alone 80% of the world population. This guy is a different breed. But you know what? I get it. Attack on Titan is a series about Eren and all the events that led him to the final outcome. We've seen Eren take L after L after L that this man needs his own death note. You've seen his confidence get picked off slowly but surely from that loudmouth angry kid who started off as that. By the end of season 3, you could tell that something big was changing inside of him. And it doesn't matter who the hell you are, anyone who has lived a life similar to Eren changes a person. And it was just such a treat to see such a bold character change pay off. And honestly, Eren fuck the Geneva Convention Jaeger is just one of the rich cast of characters that gets equal care and attention. There are so many characters, so many moving parts, yet never feels excessive or overbearing. It's so rare that a series juggling so many moving parts doesn't get crushed under the weight of its own ambition, but somehow balances it all. This is the kind of shit that people will still be making videos about years later. And even then, we still wouldn't have explored every little detail and nuance of the story. It feels like Isayama set up all the dominoes in all the right places. From the giant explosion fights AOT is known for, there were equally as many compelling scenes of just pure dialogue, which just goes to show how strong the foundations are. There are characters I love, there are characters I really hate, but what I hate even more is that Isayama somehow successfully managed to make me give a fuck about them. Like, everyone hated Gabby. She had a total screen time of 10 minutes before she puts one of the most beloved characters 6 feet under. But you can't hate her without understanding the circumstances leading her to killing Sasha. The Eldian Devils just attacked the mainland, and it's been beaten into them to kill all devils. They are the unforgivable monsters that deserve the absolute worst, and it makes perfect sense why she is the way she is. Aggravating and all. Plus, when she headshot Eren, I think that will earn her a few brownie points from the fandom. I feel like people forget that the character you dislike and a bad character are not always one and the same. In each of the previous seasons, you were always on the edge of your seat, not knowing which characters would make it out alive. But season 4 changed the whole concept of not knowing who's going to make it out alive. You don't even know who you want to make it out alive. And it's honestly a treat to see a series doing so many things right, which brings us to the awkward topic of the ending, because, well, this ended up being a bombshell of a topic, didn't it? With one of the most popular anime and manga franchises of all time, the conclusion to the story built up over a decade's time is very important, especially for one such as AOT, that storytelling thus far has been damn near perfect and attracted the eyes of millions. And I'll make this short and sweet. I'll tell you how it is, so listen to me very carefully. Stop whatever it is you're doing and listen to these words. No bias, not an AOT delusional fanboy. I only speak facts, and here are the facts. Drum roll please. It was Alright, the fact is, it's bittersweet, but here's what I'm not gonna stand for. I'm not gonna stand for the blatant disrespect or any kind of hate towards the ending. And if you're one of the people that just flat out hate the ending, I'm sorry to say, but your opinion is just wrong. Like, couldn't be more of a wrong answer. The final part of Attack on Titan was one of the most heart-wrenching and emotional roller coasters I have ever seen, and it was absolutely beautiful. There were so many moments that made me realize how much Isayama really cared for this series and how much he really was putting his all into this ending. Moments like when Jean called Reiner a scout, Mikasa and Eren at the cabin, Armin and Eren fighting in their Titan forms, and Eren opening his eyes for the first time since the start of the rumbling to see Mikasa one last time. These are just a few of the moments that were pulling on my heartstrings. Bro, when Eren fixed Mikasa's scarf one last time, the emotions I felt in that moment were overwhelming. The last part was literally an hour and 30 minutes of pure peak fiction. But of course, for some reason, the last 20 seconds is just a giant fuck you to everything Eren accomplished with his sacrifice. But here's why it's not as bad as everyone's making it out to be. And I mean that. It doesn't in any way change how good of an ending we got. Basically, a long time passes, but war has started again, and a wandering kid finds a tree. The tree is the same place Eren was buried, and it looks exactly like the tree Ymir found that granted her the power of the founding Titan. Now, a lot of people looked at this and said that the cycle is repeating, so Eren accomplished nothing in the end. And to those people, I say this. I don't know what series you were watching, but Eren accomplished everything he wanted. His sacrifice was not meaningless, and you need to go back and rewatch the series if you think any different. Eren's goals were to secure a future for his friends and family and the people of Paradis, and that's exactly what he did. Mikasa got to grow old and have a family, probably with that loser Jean, but still. Armin and Annie, they looked like they ended up together, and at the end of the day, they all got to grow up, knowing the fact that they were truly free. Eren's second goal was to get rid of the Titan problem, and that's exactly what he did. He secured peace and freedom for generations, and I think that the fact that the Titans returned are what most people are hung up about. Eren hated Titans from the bottom of his heart, but they are a fundamental piece of this world. Look, I get it. It sucks, but it's the truth. But let me ask you guys this, and be honest. Do you guys honestly think Eren gives a single fuck about anything that happens past Mikasa and Armin's death? This is the same man who wiped out 80% of the world's population, so you know, morals are kind of a gray area for this man. But that's how I honestly feel about the ending. The little 20-second cliffhanger, if that's what you can even call it, doesn't in any way affect, at least for me, the overall ending. And listen, if your only negative thing you can think about is the post-credit scene, then that ain't too bad. With a show this popular, there are always going to be some people with different opinions. But honestly, I think this is one of the few shows where I say AOT has deserved all the praise and hype it's gotten over the past decade. New anime fans are going to be calling this one of their favorite anime of all time. And veteran weebs with hundreds of shows under their belt will probably be saying the same. Every time AOT has dropped an episode or a new season, it's always trending every week, whether something big happened or not. The initial hype from the first season we got was astronomical when it first came out, and it was untouched by future seasons until the fourth season and all its completion. AOT has become so big that it's kind of a staple in mainstream nerd culture itself. If you watch anime, you are watching it. If you don't, you were probably still watching it as well. It was like this unspoken rule on social media that everyone should be watching Attack on Titan, and if you weren't, then that's on you. Attack on Titan has surpassed the level of just another anime. It's a modern day classic. I truly am grateful that I got to watch another masterpiece come to its conclusion. Attack on Titan isn't just another great show that will file away and move on now that it's over, but something that will leave a deep imprint not only on us, but the entire anime community for years or even decades to come. That is Attack on Titan. We didn't just watch another great anime come to its end, we witnessed history being made. And one last thing, I support Aaron and his choice.